I see Anwar Ahmad just joined us, our student rep. Welcome, welcome. Leticia Gonzalez, our Foreman's operation manager, has joined just in case if there's any questions, but I appreciate her attendance. Mr. Stahoviak, our assistant principal, joined on the viewing of the meeting. Thank you for your attendance. And of course, Mr. Garces, who helps us with the ability to make sure that this is streamable for our viewership from home. And we will be recording the meeting shortly. I see Miss Sabrina Woods joined our call. Welcome, welcome. We'll get started in a few minutes. We're trying to give people some time to log on. So I see Mr. Israel Flores was able to join. Thank you. So what I did is I just dropped a few links in the chat. One that will cover during new business, and I did add today's agenda, the minutes from our September meeting, which we'll need to refer to in a little bit. And I also added a link to one of our folders that you'll need access to.
Hello, Mr. Asensio.
Welcome, Mr. Asensio.
One, two, three, four, five, six. So if I'm correct, we have 6 members and then plus our student rep, is that correct?
Let's take a look. Correct. That's what I count.
Okay. So we need one more, correct?
Correct. I think Ms. Malhas is also joining us. And I know we notified I'm welcoming Jessica Kearns, who is our new PAC president. Welcome.
Hello, Ms. Kearns.
Hello. Sorry, I'm keeping my camera off for the moment.
Yeah,
I'm in the middle of dinner.
Yeah, that's not
Nice
a
to meet
problem.
all of you.
that time of day.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Oh, God. I'm inside. I'm sorry, but I'm troubleshooting the system and it's, wow, pretty overwhelming. How's everyone doing?
You're fine.
Thank God for that.
So I sent Ms. Malhas a reminder text. She told me earlier that she was going to be joining us, so I have no reason to believe that she won't. So she will be joining us shortly, I hope. So for all of you watching from our YouTube stream, welcome. We'll be getting started hopefully very shortly. And for all of our LSC members, I have also emailed you in your emails the links.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know who Isma Raus is, but someone is trying to join our meeting. Let me just try to help them out. Isma Raus, can you please unmute? Isma Raus. Isma Raus, can you unmute and introduce yourself? Are you, I don't know if this is Ms. Malhas joining from another email account or another LSC member joining from another email account. So I just wanted to give them an opportunity to unmute and introduce themselves.
I hear voices on the background. Probably the person that wants to join is having issues as I did with the microphone, so it's a bit tricky to fix it up.
Isma Raus, if you can please unmute and let us know who you are, or type in the chat. We also have a Mr. San Gabriel joined. Bienvenido, señor San Gabriel. Welcome.
So with Mr. San Gabriel joining us, I believe we have quorum.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. As chairperson for the Foreman College and Career Academy, I call to order this meeting of the local school council on October 19th, 2021 at 5:15 p.m. I will move forward and ask, I'm just opening my agenda, excuse me. So Mr. Escamilla sent us the agenda, which is also posted. So we'll establish quorum through a roll call. Would you either say your name, please, or write your name in the chat? I'll start. This is Mary McCann Sanchez.
Anthony Escamilla, principal.
Hello, I'm so sorry that I'm late.
Mr. Asens, the teacher rep.
Israel Flores, community representative.
Ruth Cruz, community representative.
Sabrina Woods, non-teacher rep.
Anwar Ahmad, student rep.
And Mr. San Gabriel escribió su nombre en el chat. Mr. San Gabriel wrote his name in the chat.
And Ms. Malhas also put her name in the chat.
Okay, so we have reached quorum with a total of 9 local school council members present.
Okay, wonderful. We're all here together to get started this evening. That's great. So we will begin the meeting today by having a report from the parent representative.
Ms. McCann, if I can just remind everybody that I will be recording this meeting as well.
Thank you.
Before we start with the agenda, we need to agree that the agenda is not, there's no need for
Amending. Thank you. Yeah. So if you open up the link that Mr. Escamilla sent, we see the agenda. Could you take a moment to review the agenda?
And just for señor San Gabriel en español, nomás quiero recordar a todos que les mandé un correo electrónico con todos los datos de nuestra agenda, los minutos de la última junta que teníamos en septiembre, y otros documentos que van a necesitar que tener ustedes acceso, solamente los miembros del concilio, del Local School Council. Se los mandé por correo electrónico.
Does anyone have any change that they would like to suggest in the agenda for tonight's meeting? Okay, otherwise, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Ms. Wood motions, is there a second?
I second that.
Ms. Cruz seconds the motion. Thank you. The motion has carried and the agenda is approved. We can move on to point 4 then, the approval or amending of the prior meeting minutes, which you can also find in the chat, I believe. Did you put up
I can put it back on the chat.
Yeah.
Sorry, so just for a point of order, can we just go ahead and agenda? So it was motioned and second. Can we just go ahead, everybody vote?
Please
Oh,
to
I'm
vote.
sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm sorry. So the motion was made and it was seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Flores, aye.
Escamilla, aye.
McCann, aye.
Ms. Cruz, aye.
Sabrina Woods, aye.
Malhas, aye.
Mr. San Gabriel and Mr. Asensio wrote in an aye in the chat.
Okay, so I believe the motion would pass. I'm not sure if everybody voted. Anwar, I'm not sure if I cut your vote. Okay, so that the motion moves with 9 votes.
With 9 votes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Flores. And so now we can move on to approve or amend the prior meeting minutes.
I also just although I emailed everybody the links and the documents, I just dropped the link to the minutes of our last meeting in the chat.
Okay, so we'll give everyone a few minutes to look over the minutes prior to seeking to approve the minutes.
I'm sorry to ask a question. Are we on public participation yet? Item 5?
No, not yet. We're actually on point 4. We're reviewing the minutes in order to move forward with an approval.
Got it. Thank you. Sorry, I jumped off, so just wanted to
That's
check.
okay. So moving forward, is there any suggestion or is there a motion to approve the prior meeting minutes from our meeting in September?
I motion to approve the minutes from September the 21st LSC meeting.
Okay, so Ms. Woods has made the motion to approve the minutes from September. Is there a second?
I second it.
Mr. Escamilla has seconded. All in favor, please say aye or put your name in the chat, please.
Escamilla, aye.
Malhas, I.
So the motion passes with 9 votes. It's approved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Flores. We'll move down into point 5 for our public participation today. Do we have anyone on a list for public participation, Mr. Escamilla?
Yes, we have Emily Melby from State Rep Will Gazzardi's office, who is interested in sharing some information and speaking to our LSC. And she has her hand up right now.
Okay, so Ms. Melby, would you like to begin in the public participation? Welcome to our LCS meeting tonight.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mary. And please let me know if it's difficult to hear. I'm sort of in transit at the moment. But thank you, as always, for the invitation to hop on the LSC call. I've enjoyed hopping on and sharing updates from our office on different community events we're doing. So thank you, Principal Escamilla, for always extending the invitation. Today, I wanted to share an update on a fall community health fair we're putting on Saturday, November 6th. So first Saturday in November. We're going to be at Cause Park from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the main focus of this event will be direct health services. So we'll have free flu shots, COVID-19s, and boosters for folks who are eligible. Depending on the guidance that changes from the federal level, IDPH will be doing Moderna boosters, J&J boosters possibly, and for acupuncture and mental health resources for folks. We'll also be painting a community mural, and we'll have free hot chocolate and a whole bunch of fun stuff for the family. So I've sent the flyers to the principal to distribute to the LSC. I can also drop them in the chat later during the meeting. So just wanted to highlight that so that the Foreman community is aware of this health fair we're putting on so folks can come out and access resources. In addition, if there's anything our office can do to help promote any school-wide events that Foreman has coming up for the Halloween season, please let me know. We're always happy to help however we can. And I've also continued to support the Friends of Foreman group that is in the process of forming, just with different ideas for event spaces, for a holiday, a possible holiday fundraiser, and other stuff like that. So as always, the main update I wanted to share was about that health fair again Saturday, November 6th. And just to hop on and say thank you again for being a great partner in the community. And the representative will be joining the November meeting. He's definitely looking forward to it. He is in Springfield right now for session, which is why he couldn't jump on tonight, but is looking forward to hearing updates next month. So I will stop my rambling. I think those are all the updates. So thanks again for having us.
Thank you. One question. So for the direct services, are all individuals eligible, adults and children? I mean, obviously according to CDC guidelines, but
yeah, for the booster shots or just for the general services? So for boosters right now, it's seniors over 65, folks who work in high risk jobs, so jobs with a lot of contact. So like teachers, restaurant workers, etc., are eligible to get boosters, and people who are immunocompromised. So those are the three groups that are eligible now, and I'd be happy to follow up and send an email just clearly outlining that so that folks in the Foreman community are aware of who's now eligible to go get their booster.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions for Ms. Milby?
No, but I did want to emphasize that all that information is also already posted on our website for our school community to continue to explore.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. Okay. Do we have any other public participation?
Ms. Melby was the only one that had signed up, but so that should be the end of it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Escamilla. We will then move into the point of any new business for tonight. And I do not bring any new business to this meeting. Is there any one who does have new business to introduce before the reports?
I have a part of a new business in the form of an activity, as our school is in the process of collaborating with our immediate school community, including our local school council, to begin the steps in revising our mission and vision statement for the school. And so I'd like to walk, because this is separate from my report, I'd like to walk people through our local school council through an activity initial step that our local school, that our instructional leadership team has already initiated within their meeting. And I'd love to walk you all through it so I can gather some information, as this is a gradual process in developing our mission and vision statement. I'd love to take you all through an initial exercise just to get your input as a local school council that we can continue to utilize as we rewrite our mission and vision statement.
Okay, thank you.
So I will share my screen so I can share a different page. And I will also copy the activity here so that you all have the link to the activity. The current link that was dropped will give you access to a slideshow that is entitled Local School Council Beliefs for Mission and Vision Work. And so it's a simple exercise before we begin to draft what our overall mission and vision for our school will look like. It's good to get our immediate school community's input on what they believe makes a quality school or an effective school. And so I generated this question here, but there are different ways of considering this. And I put down a couple of examples that you can use. And here the question is, what are the most important beliefs to have in order to build a successful and joyous school? So what are the most important beliefs to have in oneself in order to build a successful and joyous school? And so a couple of examples of this would be, that our school community, including our local school council, our teachers, our staff at Foreman, believing that all students can learn. As a school, we want to hold this close to our heart, this truth, this belief that all students can learn. Another example here provided is, once a student believes that you care, they would be more willing for new learning experiences or more open for new learning experiences. But the students must believe that you care first, right? So once a student believes that you care, they would be more willing for new learning experiences or exploring new learning experiences. So these are just a couple of examples of what beliefs a school community should have, can have, in order to build a successful or effective or achieving school community or joyous school community. And I'm not actually sharing my screen, so let me share it right now. I thought I was sharing it. So I did drop the link in the chat. So if you can access the link, you simply click on one of the electronic sticky notes. You can drag it anywhere into the screen and then double click on it so you can begin to type on it. So you can place your sticky note, you can make it smaller, you can make it larger, you can move it around. So once you access the link, you can begin to type in what you think the beliefs should be for an effective or achieving school, or a successful school, or a joyous school. This whole idea of joy at a school, aside from learning, is, living through the pandemic is something new that we often take for granted. We're focused on student achievement, we're focused on grades, we're focused on skill learning, on content attainment. But because of living through the pandemic, it's forced us to really consider, well, what makes a joyous school? What makes a joyous classroom? And so, again, what are the most important beliefs to have in order to build a successful and joyous school, or develop an effective and joyous school? If you can get a sticky note and begin to write your thoughts, you can, as you type, you can leave your name. You can continue to get more and more sticky notes and move them over to the larger space. And again, feel free to move them around. If you want to add it to the second page of the PowerPoint, you can feel free to move your stickies around. As you can imagine, this initial step is, if we are examining what we believe in would make for a better school, will help us create a better Foreman, we can start to really pinpoint what goals we should be targeting as a school. and then what actions will help us achieve those goals. So hence our eventual next steps would be to write our vision and then our mission. So our goals, and then how we're going to get there. But we can do that in a more effective way if we start to really examine, well, what do we believe makes for a great school, right? And so this is why this is our initial step. And so if you all don't mind, and I see our PAC president, Ms. Kearns. Were you still able to not access it, or were you able to access it? I'm gonna try to drop.
Let me try again.
I'm gonna try to drop the link again in the chat.
Nope. Is anybody else having a problem with it? Because it might just be a phone issue. Since I'm on my phone.
Oh, I see. So if you want to try to tackle that question and simply bullet point a list, a brainstorm list, and you want to email it to me, I will make sure that they're added.
Okay.
And we can, because this is not going to be the initial step. We're going to bring this back. A lot of our teachers are doing this. Like I said, our instructional leadership team is doing this exercise. And what we want to do next is try to bring together common beliefs and revise those statements so that we can sort of categorize them under the same type of belief, or bring some of them together, especially if we see repeat statements or comments that seem very similar. And then we can narrow down, well, what are our beliefs as a school community, so that we can then begin to move forward to our next steps in writing our mission and vision. So I also noticed that people are still writing, so continue to write. I see here, for example, resources. If we can be a little more specific. So what do you believe is important about resources that would make for a great school? So if you can give us a little more of an idea. Is this access for resources for families, for students, teachers, or everyone alike? And then in about 2 more minutes, I'll give everybody the opportunity to write their finishing thoughts on their stickies, and then we'll take a look at them, just so that we can share what resonates with us after everyone has had an opportunity to jot a few things down. You know, what resonates with you, and why? Why does that, spark something in your heart, mind, and soul? So what I'll do now is I'll just read off a few because I know some people are also, they may have be struggling on their phone. So I'll read just a few aloud. And then if anyone wants to pick up where I left off and read another few aloud, and then we'll just share a little bit about what is resonating with us and why. So I see here the belief of inclusion of all staff, the belief of celebration of all cultures, the belief of parents are proud that their child is attending the school pride, all students can learn, the belief in vocational ed classes offered like cooking, sewing, and woodshop.
Mr. Escamilla, I'm
Yes.
sorry. There's I can't remember who she is, but it's Jessica Kearns.
Yes.
She's asking to include trauma-informed approaches and training staff in what that looks like. That is very, very important. But I wonder what specifics she wants to embrace in terms of trauma. Is it medical traumas? Is it psychological traumas? Or is it
really all of it just recognizing that the kids and the staff have been through a lot that looks different for each person.
So each one. So we want to tailor the services for each one in each individual separately. That's what you mean?
I mean, I am not an educator, so I think that there will be some feedback welcome from the staff.
Yeah, no,
on what the best way
get
to
it.
implement that is.
I think, and you can also just feel free to add or correct or but it seems like, you know, nowadays the most effective schools are the ones that make sure that they're taking into account trauma-informed approaches. If we stick to more of a traditional sense of schooling, where we're only focused on content and skill and getting your work in and getting your grades, and we're not taking into account the reality that we're all living through, and if we're not taking into account any trauma-informed approaches, that we're missing out somewhere. And so I think I like that statement that you know, a more effective school is taking this approach into account, and I believe that's important.
No, I understand.
Yeah, and that's important to go in multiple directions too, because, like I said, it's not just the kids who have been dealing with a lot, and so for everybody to look at each other and say,
well,
you know, we're throwing a whole bunch of people together that have been through a really rough time, and making sure that people even have skills on how to recognize that and how to work with that, because you know, it's not just about a desire. It's about saying, if we'd like to treat each other that way, what are the tools that people need in order to understand how to best meet each other's needs?
Yeah. I see here another belief here. We need to believe that our students have the support of the community in and out of school. That lifelong learning is modeled. So I take it that by the adults, that we're showing our students that we're still learning, that even though we're teachers, we're educators, we're parents, we're community members, we ourselves are lifelong learners, and we're always willing to be open to learn new things. I agree to that. Does anyone want to read anything that resonated with them? And feel free to chime in, and then we'll move on to our reports.
We are currently during the school week. We have 3 days in which we separate ourselves or get together in grade levels, and we discuss students' behavior and how can we support them through tier 1, 2, and 3 to probably, you know, try to achieve some change in behavior of the students. It will be interesting to see if we could have meetings with a group of students on that particular level that can, for example, I'm on the 10th grade level, and I get together on Wednesday, on Tuesdays with all my colleagues. It would be interesting to see if we could tackle those students within the teachers as a conversation, kind of like a coffee talk. Let's talk about the situations that are affecting us as students and as teachers, and how can we mediate find solutions to these problems. Because I find and I feel that the effort that is being made now is unilateral, coming from the teachers towards the students, but the students have no voice in the matter. We choose the students and we try to modify their behavior, which is wonderful. I have nothing against that. And we need to document that. But I wonder if we could have conversations with the students where they can express themselves as to how they feel. They can help themselves, help us, help them. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and building on that, I think there's two that talk about accountability by students, and so there too, that rather than imposing discipline, the child or the teenager develops self-discipline, which is actually self-discipline and coping skills are part of a trauma-informed approach. So it seems like there's quite a bit of emphasis on that.
Yeah, accountability doesn't always mean punishment.
Yeah,
exactly. It's really recognizing what you did and why it matters. And I was really glad to see that was the word somebody used, because it opens a lot of doors.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. McCann. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, I think that also links, the accountability links to the safety factor.
Yeah.
Very closely.
But also if we see, because we have problems, I know that. I mean, students have issues, teachers have issues. We all do. But if we see conversations happening in which we can come to solutions together, and the students can see that we really, really, really are invested in what they are accomplishing, they find this process authentic, I think. It's not a matter of putting it on paper and put it on a drawer and that's it. It's a matter of like really having a conversation with the student, where the student can express the reasons why he or she thinks this is happening to them, or and I understand that there are some privacy issues that we would not like to address with the students, and I understand that sometimes counselors and social workers want to have the students express these in public, but some of the students are very, very talented and very intelligent, and we are losing them because we are not able to get through them. And yes, it's coming from the desk towards the student desk, but there's nothing coming from the student's desk to the teacher in the conversation, I feel.
Yeah, I know, coming to Foreman, I definitely wanted to, it's important to hold students accountable, yes, and it's always important to have a system that reacts to student infractions. But coming to Foreman, it was important for me to, first of all, develop a culture and climate team and make sure that we have goals within our culture and climate team. And then secondly, to create a purpose within our culture and climate team that seeks out a proactive or a preemptive way to support students and not solely react, right? Because our student code of conduct helps us react to student infractions. But it was important for me to revisit a form of a proactive approach, and that's something that we're trying to make come to life through our Pride campaign, and give students credit when they're displaying certain characteristics that not only help them feel rewarded, but that they can also use in times where they may have committed an infraction. Let's say they've been attending a class late. And so this idea of already having been recognized or acknowledged of displaying positive behavior can help the student whenever they enter or earn a reflection under their name. And we call them reflections, not detentions here at Foreman, because we want to make sure they're exercising their brains and they're putting reflection onto their prior actions. But thank you all for sharing your thoughts and opinions during this exercise. We're going to be utilizing what your input here in our upcoming steps in writing our mission and vision statement. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Escamilla. So, Mr. Escamilla, could you explain then with like the inputs that you received from today, and then who is it that's going to be moving into the goals and activities and actually kind of working on the nuts and bolts of the mission and vision? Will we be doing that too at another meeting?
Yes. Right now, the team that's helping us continue to follow through on the steps will be our instructional leadership team. But we will also be involving students. We're also going to be inviting our LSC to those sessions so that we can continue to wordsmith the mission and vision statements together.
Okay. Any more questions for Mr. Escamilla? Okay, so then we'll move into, if there's no other new business.
I wanted to bring something up.
Yes.
Not sure if it was if it's been brought up before, but so yesterday I was in a meeting for the local school council advisory board, and they mentioned that there has been a change for the local school structure with additional 2 student representatives, and that now quorum will be a total of 8, not 7. So I wanted to bring that up and just to see how is the school planning to advertise that, trying to get more student involvement.
So that's great. And so I have questions because I'm not fully informed on that step yet, on that update. But do you know if they're interested in wanting us to move forward with that this year? And then will the student reps qualify for voting? Did that change too?
So my understanding to that was that we have to start like advertising that and get students as soon as possible. They'll be part of voting, and yeah, the quorum will now be 8 instead of 7.
Okay.
They mentioned that they would, or supposedly that they had already sent out information, but I could back up with them and get some of that information so I could pass it along to you.
That's great. That's awesome to hear. I think just to share some context as to how we then recruit is that we would advertise to students by sending them a correspondence through their emails. We like to advertise on our television sets here that are in our cafeteria and our hallways. And what the student would have to do they would have to apply using the local school council student rep application interest form, and then what we would do is once we narrow down the students that are interested, then we would create a ballot box in the cafeteria and generate votes for narrowing down that second student rep. But that's exciting. That's good news that more students on the local school council.
Yeah, so it would be, we need an additional 2. It would be a total of 3 students. Yeah.
Okay. That would be great. Maybe we can continue to, I'll reach out to you, Mr. Flores, and you can help maybe we can walk through some of that information together, and then I'll make sure it gets done here in the school.
Okay, great. Okay, so thank you. That's a very important piece of news. Any other new business? Okay, then we will move into point 7 on the reports. And we will begin with the principal reports, please.
Yes, so if just to give you some basic updates on the school level, we are at 578 students here at Foreman, and it seems to, it's a good issue to have. We seem to be still having students trickle in and enroll at Foreman, which is always great news. Mr. Stahoviak and our attendance team are trying to tackle a campaign that can help continue to inform our school community, our students, most importantly, about the importance of attendance. We're at around 81%, an 81% attendance rate. And so what we want to do is, it's not a bad attendance rate, but it's also not a great attendance rate. One of our goals is to help students understand the benefits of maintaining a 90% attendance rate, but also something that was just recently brought up in our last exercise is that we're all still living through the pandemic. So understanding that, how unrealistic it would be for us to continue to aim at such a high attendance rate when this sense of normalcy that we were accustomed to before the pandemic is not the same right now. And so we want to take that into account, but we still want to provide our families, our students with the information that would be important for them in and around attendance, the benefits to grades, standardized tests, the likelihood of getting into colleges of their choice, the likelihood of qualifying for particular scholarships and grants. We want to continue to make sure that attendance campaign is alive, and that our students have that knowledge to make better decisions around their attendance. I did receive an email from facilities saying that that they submitted the proposal for our locker room upgrades and our field outside, and that they have also determined a monetary cost of the updates. They haven't provided me with that information, but they informed me that that is also a step in the right direction. They haven't officially said that they are moving forward with the project, but from what I understand, the person that I'm working with downtown says that this is a good step, because they wouldn't be considering cost if they're not going to be approving the project overall. So I'm still keeping my fingers crossed, but and feeling confident about the upgrades that are going to come this summer.
Quick question.
Yes.
On the field, what is expected to happen for the field? Are they going to reconstruct the entire thing, resurface the entire thing, do everything new? What are the things that they're going to do or planning to do?
So what they're planning to do is bringing everything up to code. And so right now there's a lot of dips and pitching for the sake of draining water. There have been upgrades to that where they don't have to have those major dips into the sewer system or for the water to drain. Now everything can remain level. And so what they're going to do is bring things up to code, aiming for a turf, an artificial turf field, which a lot of the schools are receiving. Seating, so allowing for visitors to actually have some place to sit in the stadium.
Okay.
They had, and this is what they mentioned when they were here, lighting so that we can have night games, restrooms to have restrooms outside, and a vending area for continued fundraising. And one of the ideas I told them that we would want a vending area specifically, because I understand that once they give us this field, it's going to be up to the school to then maintain it, right? So thinking of sustainability for the future, this is one of my requests, not only seating, but also a vending area so that we can continue to raise funds for the maintenance of the field. So that was it. They did say that they would help, and this is more cosmetic, is designing the lines that would go on the field so that we can not only have football, soccer, but baseball on there. So it'll be a multi-purpose field that they would provide us. And then the upgrades to our locker room so that our students can have an appropriate modern area to feel comfortable in changing, and our visiting programs from other schools have an appropriate place to also come in and change, and be ready for sports competitions.
Thank you.
And so another update is that we had CDOT out here who will be installing additional bike racks. I don't know if our staff has noticed, but a lot of our students either are bringing, biking has become more popular than ever, or they're bringing their own bicycles, they're riding them to school, but right now they're chaining them to the fence. And so I've worked with CDOT to get some appropriate bike racks in front of the school. Right now they're going to deliver 2. They're saying that they wouldn't mind working with me to eventually bring 4 to our immediate school community. And so those are going to come to the front of the school for our students to utilize, which is exciting. If right now, if you don't mind, I sent you an email to a folder. This is for the local school council members only. I sent you the link to the folder where you will have access to all of the finance records that we need to provide, and then vote on the budget transfers as well. So I'd like for you guys to access those right now so that we can conclude my report and we can move on to our student reps report.
I'm sorry, is that the one that reads in the email activity before the link?
No, it's one that leads you to the LSC October 2021 folder.
Okay, give me 1 second. No, that's not it. Oh, I see. Got it.
And so the first document that you will all see was a document that we brought up in our last meeting, where we and let me pull it up on my records here. I just had it open and accidentally closed it myself.
I'm sorry.
So the first document is entitled Student Fees Updated. So this is the document that we were looking at to loop our parents in and prepare them for the increase of student fees next year. And we haven't determined what that's going to look like. We're going to have continued conversations within our local school council to determine that increase. And so right now we just wanted to provide parents with the current breakdown, and then note that there will be a proposed student fee increase for school year 22-23. Where before we had a proposed suggestion there, and right now we're just letting them know and keeping them informed that there will be a proposed student fee increase for the upcoming school year. So there's no voting necessary for this document. I just wanted to provide it to you all because this will be going out to our families. Our September reconciliation is again access to our finances, to our internal accounts, and the reconciliation of our checkbook or our checking account, in addition to payments that are pending that we sent as well to people that we're doing business with. So this also does not require, as you all remember, any type of voting. This is just access to our internal accounting reconciliation report so that you all have access to this. The next one is our purchase order. These are the orders of purchases that we've made recently. Here you will see, again, some of the purchases that we've made. Some of them, what you'll notice, are open and closed. Open means that we're still pending. The person that we did business with has not yet received the funds because we're either waiting for services or waiting for the products to arrive. So, for example, here at the very top, Melco Electric. This is a company that helped do some electrical work in our teacher resource room so that we can install a different outlet for the teacher copier that's in that room. And so if the next one is, for example, still open because they haven't delivered radios that we ordered, these walkies that we use around the school that we've placed an order for. Apparently you probably all have heard this long process that's taking place with overseas sales and electronics and things that are coming from overseas. Sometimes from, I heard there's like Ford is waiting for a microchip that is made in China, and there's a lot of delays from a lot of overseas products. We've purchased radios that we need to use here at the school, and they have not yet delivered them, so that it remains an open item. But these are some of the purchases that, again, that we've made this school year. Further down, you'll see we're partnering up with a company that's going to be bringing us some CPR training to our staff. Further below, the first student expenditures go towards busing for our athletics program, help us pay for busing. And so this is our purchase order report. Again, there's no voting necessary. It's just a information for our LSC to have. Our positions report, again, is our current positions of all of our employees, the positions that are open at the school that were active during the month of September and up to our current time. So again, this is no need to vote for this report. This is just to provide you with the information of our current positions here at Foreman. Our budget transfers, these we will have to vote on. And so I ask that you review these. If there are questions, I can feel free to ask. I will answer any and all questions on our budget transfers. Budget transfers, again, to give you an explanation, is when we have to move money from one line in order to spend it appropriately. So, for example, sometimes there are things that just have to happen based on adjustments that take place downtown. So, for example, the first one there is it says it's going from one account transferring into another account in the amount of $2,292, and it's to clear a negative in a pointer line. Well, what does that mean exactly? So what that means is that when payroll goes out and positions are funded, whether that is a person's paycheck, benefits, they put money into pointer lines. And sometimes those lines become short because it ends up paying all of our staff members. And when they become short, they go into the negative. And so it's my job in conjunction working with someone like our operations manager, Miss Leticia Gonzalez, will find money to move to cancel that negative that it has occurred when we pay our staff. Sometimes it's even simpler than that. For example, you all recall that last time I shared with you that our departments, including our world language department, are getting $2,000 per department. And so that goes into their department fund. And once they come to us and they say, we know what we're going to spend some of that money on. For example, here in the second line, our fine arts department wanted to continue a software that they were using. And so they wanted to move $100 from their music supply line over to a software line, because I would need to move money into the software line, because what they're continuing is the use of a software. And so the district requires us to make sure that we're moving money that is appropriate to be spent from that line or from that area. So we can't just spend money from a general music supply line. We would have to move it into its appropriate place. And in this case, it's a software line, so that we can spend and renew the license for this $100 software license. So these are the transfers that we have made. I'd like for you to review them. And again, these are also all done in conjunction with guidance of our operations manager, people downtown, but it is a process that I need to allow you all to have access to and potentially ask any questions that you'd like.
So each one of these transfers must be voted individually, isn't it?
No, we can do. I mean, we can review them individually if you'd like. If there are questions on anything, feel free to ask. There are some, if you recall the last time, there are portions of the budget, like for example, the district has given us some funds that are called Moving Together Forward funds that do not require the vote of our local school council. The local school council would, in general, be voting on helping move this process forward for our general budget. But there are some things like this Moving Forward Together funds that they provided us that would not require the LSC's vote. But we can, if you'd like, voting on each individual or all of them together. It's one document ultimately that's signed, so quite often they're voted all together because it would be ultimately one document that's signed and submitted by us to downtown.
The only reason I'm asking is because in the past, before this administration, we used to vote individually for each one of them. But if the council agrees, we can go ahead and do it in a whole, like as a whole.
Yeah, it would seem appropriate to me that we would only vote individually if there's one item that seems to require that individual vote.
Okay.
But I have a question.
Sure.
Just to understand, so for example, just looking at the largest, which is the re-engagement funds, and we did talk about the student incentives in the last meeting, but so when it's a transfer from one part of the budget to another, is that correct? It's never new money, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And so for example, in that larger amount that you're pointing out, that one is part of our re-engagement Moving Forward Together funds. And those were, again, the idea there of moving forward together, or this other phrase that they're using, re-engagement funds, is to re-engage our students back into the swing of things. And that's why the district provided us these funds, so that we can come up with a plan to re-engage students and get them back in the swing of things at school, incentivize certain things, have certain fun events for them. And those there that you see and that end with 912, those are part of those funds that technically the LSC would not have to worry about voting for those, just as an FYI.
Okay, so they don't take away from any personnel or, or other resources, right?
They don't take away, no.
Yeah, okay. Are there any other questions on these transfers? Is there a motion to approve the transfer sheet in its entirety?
I motion to approve the budget transfers, the entire budget transfers.
Thank you. Does anyone second that?
I second the motion.
Okay, so the motion has been made and it has been seconded. All in favor, please say aye with your name or write in the chat.
Escamilla, aye.
Flores, aye, and the motion would pass with 9 votes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Flores. So we can move into the report from our student representative, Anwar.
Yes. So during one of our student voice committee meetings, Dr. Blake and Mr. Escamilla informed us about a participatory budget where our school will be given $10,000. It is up to us students to decide how we want to spend this money wisely. So this money normally goes to the school's needs, developing a project proposal, and more. It can go to a project for the music department, for example, or even arts. Point is, it can go anywhere, and the SVC and I have our ideas, but it is a must that we spread the word and include other students as well. So with that being said, this Friday, an SBC member, Aramis, and I will be going to seminar classes, periods 1 through 8, to tell students about this grant. We will have them fill out a paper that asks the simple question of, if you had 10,000 to spend on fixing or upgrading anything here at Foreman, what would it be and why? So I can't wait to see those responses, and we will soon be deciding on what we will use the money for. And when we do visit those classes, we also want to share that we will be starting a fundraiser again this year with Chicago Food Depository. It will start on October 15th and last all the way until November 24th, which is right when we start our Thanksgiving break. That is on a Wednesday. So our goal this year is 1,500. Last year, I believe it was 1,000. And I'm confident that we will reach our goal. I'm afraid I do not have the flyer saved at the moment, but just know that once I do get a hold of it, it will be sent out via email and possibly in person. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, that sounds great, both of them.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, but I just love to like really emphasize how excited I am for our students to have this opportunity. And it's an exciting opportunity for them to really think things through. I know that our student voice committee are awesome sort of gatekeepers and guiders of this opportunity. So I know they're going to do an awesome job in guiding the rest of our students and thinking this through. I'm excited for that. So I can't wait to highlight every step of the way with pictures, information, hopefully some videos here and there of some of our student ideas.
Okay, thank you very much. Bilingual Advisory Committee, the BAC.
Miss Eileen Tracy is not on the call. She's our ELPT, but we just did post our BAC this past month, and I'm happy to announce that we actually voted through our board. So we will have an active functioning BAC made up of our parents that have students in the bilingual program. So that was step one, is voting in the board. So we were able to accomplish that during our first meeting.
Okay, good. And when does that committee meet? Right. I mean, I know it's posted, but
they have 4 meetings throughout the school year.
okay.
So yes, they are posted on our website. But if there's any questions that you'd like me to take back, I will make sure that they continue to be posted on our website, any type of information.
Okay, thank you. With no further questions, we can move on to the Parent Advisory Committee, the PAC.
Hi, I'm David Stahoviak, Assistant Principal, and on October 5th, Foreman held our PAC Principals Annual Title I Informational Meeting, and then in a second meeting the same evening, our organizational meeting for PAC. And I am happy to introduce to everyone who doesn't know her, Jessica Cairns.
Hello?
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we now have a full board, and our next meeting will be November 8th. We plan to meet the second
just on this Zoom meeting?
When?
They ain't talking about nothing, Miss Ellis.
Oh, Miss Woods, please.
Miss Woods, you're not muted.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be meeting the second Monday of every month at 6 p.m. There was one in February that will be a different date because of Valentine's Day, but otherwise the scheduling worked out, and it should all be posted on the website.
Yes, and I'm happy to announce that we elected a full team of officers, chairperson, vice chair, secretary, and an outreach coordinator. We established all of our meeting dates throughout the year, as Ms. Cairns stated, and then Ms. Cairns and I meet generally a week before each PAC meeting, so we have that meeting established, and we'll discuss some items before our first official PAC meeting, which is November 8th. And thank you very much. And thank you, Ms. Cairns, for being here this evening.
Yeah, welcome aboard. Thank you so much.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Just to make a note on the minutes, the next Bilingual Advisory Committee meeting will be January the 5th on a Wednesday, 2022, followed by March 30th, and concluding on May 25th. Those are the 3 dates for the next 3 meetings of the BAC.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Asensio. Any other additions? Okay, so is there any information on any Communications or Freedom of Information Act FOIAs?
No, there have been no requests, no FOIA requests. And again, just for the sake of this meeting, I just want to emphasize that our minutes and videos are all accessible on our website.
Okay, thank you. And then we need finally the report from the PPLC, the Professional Personnel Leadership Committee. That's Ms. Malhouse or Mr. Asensio.
Mr. Asensio, okay, thank you. So we met as a PPLC on October 6th, and we discussed not having any staff concerns brought forward by the faculty, and considered the possible need to reiterate the purpose of PPLC, as well as create a Google form that can be posted into our school's weekly update that gets sent out to all staff members. And this Google form can have a drop down with all of our CIWP priorities, so that staff can connect their concern to that specific focus. We also discussed having an umbrella focus for our PPLC meetings, and we decided on programs and pathways because that seemed to be the greatest interest to our PPLC members. And Mr. Escamilla mentioned having upcoming meetings with city colleges, CTE, and explained that PPLC members can have a seat at those meetings. So our goal would be to understand our current programs and pathways, means to support students, and grow in that area. Is there anything to add, Mr. Asensio, or did I cover it all?
You did a wonderful job. Thank you.
And just to give you some idea on some of the topics that are coming up, because we want to firm up some partnerships with people like universities that can help continue to strengthen our pathways, our curriculum pathways here at Foreman. I'm going to be inviting people from our PPLC to meet with Northeastern Illinois University to attempt to create a partnership that would hopefully give our students more access to college level courses at the high school level, but also facilitate a process for our teachers to benefit from college courses if and when they are interested in taking college courses at Eastern, and those would be all free.
Oh. Okay. Any additions to that? Okay, so at this time, we could move into additional public participation, if there are any. Okay, going once, going twice.
Before we move on, Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I just want to point out that in the last LSC meeting, I think, I'm not sure if it was true or not, I think that we have agreed that each agenda will include a portion for executive meetings, and that in this agenda it was not included. I just want to make sure that you guys understand the purpose of having it on the agenda. It's not that we are going to use that section every day, but it should be put in the agenda just in case we need it. That will expedite the process of having executive board meeting or whatever executive sessions, as opposed to having to wait for the next meeting in a month to discuss subjects at hand. I think it is utterly important for us to consider that idea, even though we have voted that we were going to include it in the agenda. It was not included in this agenda, so I request the secretary to ensure that for the next few meetings, the next meeting that we have of the next school year, that the agenda is amended so that we can have that put in place, so that we have that time slot allotted to us at our leisure. Thank you.
And Mr. Asensio, that would be in the section on reports, correct?
I believe so, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted just clarification where that would go, because I had put new business, thinking they might go there, but just wanted to verify if it would be a separate point, if it would be connected with reports, or how would I put that in there?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Flores, I think that it doesn't matter where we put it, as long as we have it in the agenda. I might be mistaken, but what I want to make sure is that we have that time allotted for each one of the meetings, just in case we need to use it, because it will expedite the process of us taking decisions or having conversations about other businesses that are not made public. So it's just a matter of putting it in. I mean, you can consult the LSC office downtown and see if there's a particular order that has to be placed for that. But I think it will be in our best interest to have it in the agenda from going forward.
Yeah, and Mr. Flores, I'll connect you. I was going to say that, Ms. Woods. Thank you for putting it in the chat. Mr. Flores, I'll connect you with Veronica and Jackson because I'm confident that we also, if it's in this case when it's not on the agenda, we just need a minimum amount of people that would be interested in having that private session, and then we would vote it through. But like I said, I'll connect you with Veronica, and we'll know how to move forward exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other additions to this section of the agenda?
Should I get my flu shot? Should I get my shingle shot? Should I get my COVID shot all at once?
If we move into the public participation, is there any further participation by the public?
No, I don't. I only see Emily and State Rep Will Guzzardi, who Emily said was unable to make it today. There is no additional names that were added.
Okay, thank you. I would just mention here that before we move into a motion to adjourn, that I will advise all of you if the meeting is required to be in person, as we initially understood that the meetings would need to be in person, or if we can continue virtually in the spirit of precaution because of the continuing pandemic. So I will stay in touch with Ms. Dearden Jackson in case there's any change in the guidelines. At this meeting, I was allowed a discretionary decision, and it was my understanding that several people were in favor of holding the meeting in this way. If there's a further comment, I would be happy to hear your feelings on that. Although I have to put the disclaimer in that I do not know if we'll have a choice at the next meeting or if there'll be kind of more of a mandate. Mr. Escamilla.
So from what I understand, Veronica did recently contact me, and this is why I notified you right away, Chairperson McCann, is that you will ultimately be able to help make that decision for the LFC. Now, I do know that for people who live near the school and want to visit the school, or sometimes staff, it's more convenient to remain at the school.
Mm-hmm.
I am more than willing to make it an option for meetings to anyone that is interested in remaining or stopping by the school to participate. We can create something like a hybrid where some of us who choose to stay at home, obviously with your ultimate guidance and decision making, Chairperson, that if anyone is interested in, it's just more convenient, maybe someone's internet is down and they would like to come to the school for a hybrid model where I can meet with them in an office and we can have the camera there and attend the meeting. I'm more than willing to make anything work for anyone that's interested.
Thank you.
I think that having the virtual meetings is much more convenient and safer. Understanding that Mr. Escamilla's idea is a good one, but I don't think that we are at a point in which we can take a loose decision in meeting together as a council within the building. I think that with the exposure that we have had so far within our schools, it will be in our best interest to be virtual until everything comes in normalized or more like manageable.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And anyone else like to voice their opinion or cautionary advice? Okay, thank you. So with that, it's 6:38. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay. So Mary McKeon Sanchez moved to adjourn, and Ms. Woods seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Escamilla, aye.
Flores, aye.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Motion has carried. Have a good one.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.